Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Mindy and Jaima with Homeschool Moms Academy, and we are excited that you are joining us today. Stan, welcome, welcome. How was your weekend? It
It
was a
was
great
it
holiday
was
weekend.
great. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was great. Oh, it was you know, eh, working from home now. I don't know what a long weekend or a short weekend is. so so but it was very productive and very creative.
That is awesome. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But we had a great weekend from a physical activity standpoint. So we did a huge hike yesterday at a local mountain, Crowder's Mountain, and we went to the pinnacle, which really kind of went like this. So I think I gained a lot in muscle mass maybe yesterday.
Awesome.
But it's always great to get out and enjoy nature around us. So that was super fun.
Well,
But
go ahead. I want to share just one thing. The
yeah, go ahead.
benefit of you doing that for your body is so incredible. I mean, we could spend the entire session talking about the benefits of you doing that and creating that resistance and that stress on your body. It actually builds so much more. So congratulations for that hike.
Yeah. And we were talking about so I've been over the last few months, I've really been increasing my cardio, increasing my resistance. Like that was one of my goals. And that's what we're going to talk about today is setting goals. But one of my goals was really to pick up my cardio and then to increase my muscles capability. But these long hikes, so to get to the pinnacle was an hour, to get back was an hour. So it was a 2-hour hike. But it was, kind of straight up like that. So I was really watching my heart rate. Is probably the highest heart rate I've had in a long time. It was very intense. So it was really good. Of course, you feel it today. But I told my husband, I said, if we could do this, I don't know, once a week, once every other week, I'm sure that the benefits of just catapulting yourself into the next level are tremendous.
It is. It is. And we, like I said, we could have a conversation around that because, that's one of the things that I focus on. So yes.
Yeah, so awesome. But today I want to talk about setting goals. So I was at a conference this last weekend for homeschool moms. It was the North Carolina Homeschooling Conference. And it was fantastic. They had a beautiful graduation service for all of the homeschoolers in the state of North Carolina, which was outstanding. But one of the things that I realized is now that we are wrapping up the school year. Now it's time for us to start looking to the summer months. So looking towards June, July, August, let's start to set some goals for those. So I think setting goals daily, weekly, and then quarterly are so important. So I just wanted to chat about those and just come up with some ideas. Stan, I'd love to hear, what are you thinking? Like, what's some of your daily goals? What's some of your weekly goals right now? And then what's some of your quarterly goals? Like, just share with us kind of how you're thinking about goals right now.
Well, daily goals. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm bringing good things into my brain.
Yeah.
And that means nutrition. That means my thoughts. That means my environment. And I'm being specific about certain things. Like I want to accomplish one chapter every morning. So I will sit down, I will get up, and I will read a chapter of a book every morning. That's a daily goal. And the
Yeah.
reason that I do that is because it sets the trajectory, it sets the pattern. And our whole life is about patterns. And I didn't start off with one chapter. It was like read 15 minutes because it was something new. And then it was like, well, I got up, I can read 15 more minutes, I can read 30 minutes. I can drink my morning chai, take my supplements, read my chapter, and I begin my day.
Yeah.
And, the daily goals also is to make sure that I'm getting up out of my chair throughout the
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
How many steps do I want to take? How often can I just walk out to the mailbox and walk back? And these are
Yeah.
simple,
Yeah.
specific goals,
Yeah.
um, that you can do, or I can do, and at the end of the day, take an inventory and say, what did I accomplish that was something that I really intended to do? And it's being intentional about that goal. What is the outcome? What is the end result for a quarterly goal? So as I'm going to venture into looking into writing a book, and that's been put into my mind. Now, I never really thought about it too much, but as I look at it and I go, what is the end result of that goal? Is to
Yeah.
bring about transformation. So step each day, you know, I forget who it was that said it, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step,
Yeah.
and that's what a goal is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great definition, and those are great goals. I actually, at the last quarter, I wasn't taking hardly any steps at all. And so my goal was to at least get into steps is a big thing, like doing that constant setting. And I just start with getting up every hour for 5 minutes out of my chair and walking. But then once I realized the value of steps, then I really went at it. Like I really set my daily goals for, okay, now I know what steps look like. And I got up to actually 10,000 steps a day, which is really the equivalent of what it says online is 5 miles. So setting that daily goal and then trying to meet it, and finding your measuring device to actually do that. So I love that you're setting one chapter. You can measure yourself. We're setting the 10,000 steps now. I sometimes I'm not able to do that because I'm in meetings, but just setting the daily goal. Sometimes I have to say, oh, well, I can only do 6,000 steps today because I know that this is going to be happening in my life. But setting that daily goal and ensuring that you're tracking that, which is really easy with watches that we have nowadays. But moms, I would encourage you. So one of my weekly goals this week is we have a huge mulberry tree that is like overflowing with mulberries right now. So I've never actually made mulberry jam, but if you've ever eaten mulberry berries, they are fantastic. So one of my goals for this week is to create mulberry jam and to can it. And of course, I'm a big no sugar fan, so I want to try to find the perfect recipe to make without actually putting sugar into that too much, because mulberries are actually very sweet. So weekly goal, talk about those. What are your weekly goals this week? And then I'll share another one of mine.
Well, this week is to finish my garden.
Ah, yeah, good one.
So I have about 30 tomato plants. I have 12 bell pepper plants, and I've got those in the ground. Now I've got 12 more plants to get into the ground, and that's basil and oregano and sage. So that's part of my weekly goal. And also to finish, I've got a new office. So I'm not going to have this background here in the
Yeah.
next 3 or 4 weeks because I'm going to be transitioning from here to another area. So you're not going to see my fireplace. You're not going to see my kitchen. But what I'm doing is I'm creating a new environment. And so that was my goal over the weekend, was to get that room ready. And I repainted the walls 4 different times. But I am super happy with the result that I have now. And I'll share that with you some morning when I'm on here with Dr. Mendy.
No, talk about it now. You have to talk about, like, sometimes goals don't go exactly how we want them to
You
be.
know, they don't, but
Talk about the chaos involved in achieving your goals or your project for the week or
yeah,
weekend.
yeah. So the weekend, I had this idea. It was my goal to come up with something, but I didn't know what it was going to be. Okay, so my
Yeah.
goal was to have that accomplished. I painted it one color, did some swirl, did some different patterns and different things like that,
Yeah.
and it didn't really strike me.
Yeah.
But my goal was not to get frustrated,
Yeah.
but to just engage the creative nature that we're all given.
Yes.
And so I painted it again, and I did this two colors on the same paintbrush. I got a 4-inch paintbrush and dipped it in two different colors, put a divider between it, and painted all the walls. I didn't just do one wall. I did
Yeah.
all four walls because I had to have this overall appearance.
Yeah.
So just doing a small because somebody said, well, why don't you just do a small section? And I go, well, because I might just like that small section in a small section, but I won't like it overall. And I finally came up with the final outcome, and I celebrated it. And here's what I want to really emphasize. When
Yeah.
you set your goal
Yeah.
and you accomplish your goal, if you don't celebrate it, your brain says, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm not going to be happy about other things in my life. So when we celebrate it, now we activate these enzymes and these proteins and all kinds of stuff going into our brain, and our brain says, hey, I'm going to put this in my library. This
Yeah.
is exciting. You did something, you achieved something. Now celebrate it.
Yes. Yes.
And and bask in it. Don't just if I could encourage anyone listening right now, don't just have a checkbox list.
Yeah.
That's a to-do list. That's not a goal list.
Yeah. I love that. And I love the celebrate. So talk to me, how did you celebrate? Because I think I've just recently begun to incorporate that into my life because I used to be the checkbox girl. Like, I love lists. I love the checkbox. I am super good at that. Check, check, check. But I recently had someone speak into my life and talk to me about celebrating those successes. And so now I'm trying to implement that. Like, okay, what does that celebration actually look like? So, what did it look like for you once you got your room finished? And let's go there, but then let's go back to the creativity piece.
Okay, so the idea behind the checklist is it takes us back to kind of like school.
Yeah,
And when you achieve your assignment and you just, okay, I did that assignment. Now what's the next one? And what's the next? And so we program our brain
yeah,
in this way. And so we don't learn to celebrate. Whereas when we do celebrate, we're anchoring that emotion in.
yeah,
And emotion is just energy in motion. Imagine going to your favorite sporting event or a graduation that you went to, and you just sat there when your child graduated, and you sat there with your arms crossed, and yeah, no big deal. She graduated, big deal.
yeah,
Imagine what your brain would say, and the emotion, the energy that you're putting forward. But now, when they got that certificate, that diploma, and you imagined everything that they were going to accomplish, all the dreams that you had for them, you're like,
yeah,
yes. Well,
yeah,
this is the same thing that I did when I got the thing, the design that I wanted. I'm like, this is it.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. And then I shared it with people.
Awesome.
Okay. So it's like having a gift in a box that's all wrapped up and you don't open it.
Yeah,
That's what a real goal has the capacity to be. If you don't celebrate it, it's still just inside that box with the
yeah,
wrapping paper on it.
yeah.
unless that's the goal, was to create this beautiful wrapped,
Box.
perfectly folded. Yeah. But most generally, it's not. And so what we want to do is we want to open that up
Yeah.
and allow that celebration to come out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it creates chemicals in our body because when we do that, we actually create hormones in our body that say that was a good thing. And I
Yeah.
want to do that again because there's an emotion that goes along with it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that as the final piece of goal achievement. And again, that can be celebration at the end of the day,
Mhm.
celebration at the end of the week, or celebration at the end of the quarter. But again, just having that, yes, I did it. And let
Yes.
me share this with all my friends. That is super huge. And just allowing yourself to feel the victory around that. So that is super huge. But I want to go back to the creativity piece. So
Okay.
one of the things that my aunt always said is she always said, always have a project or always have a goal, meaning big goals and then big projects. So my project this week, as I told you, is to go get this mulberry jam to create the perfect jam. So the creativity aspect, I feel like is so important. So I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like. Just like you weren't sure, you had a vision for your room, but you weren't sure exactly what that was look
Right.
like. Your first panel, your first painting that didn't hit you as the right thing. But the creativity aspect, like continuing to create, and I did this with strawberry jam a few weeks ago. I think I made four different batches, like trying to find out the perfect recipe, but it's all about creating and having that going on. So, talk to me a little bit about that. Like, how did that process look for you for creating?
So, my idea about creation is that we have this imagination that we need to unlock.
Yeah.
We are the master of that box. So, if you look at my fireplace, that's 2,000 pounds of real limestone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And so I had it laid out on the floor. When I built this house, I had it laid out on the floor. And my kids were 3 and 4 at the time that I built this house.
Yeah.
And so I had my mortar on the wall, on the frame, and I had my kids pick out a stone, pick out one and bring it to me. So they picked out all those stones
Wow.
and there was no order.
Yeah.
So it was whatever they wanted, and I placed it in the position. And you notice that there's large bricks or small bricks, but it all came together.
Yeah.
And the way that they handed it to me, it was like, okay, which one's next? And
Yeah.
this is the idea of setting the goal to be allow your creative juices to flow
Yeah.
and not to get frustrated.
Yeah.
And you may not have an idea of the full picture in mind at the end,
Yeah.
but it's the process, it's the journey. It's as you went on that hike, that trail was set by somebody one day. They just woke up and they started this path. And then another person went that path. Well, I want to imagine probably 5 years later when the originator of that path walked that path, said, I created this.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm the first one that began to tread down these, and then other people as they journeyed. I
Yeah.
created the outcome of my life, and I want to say go into certain goals as a child
Yeah.
and allow yourself to say what else is possible.
Yeah.
That's that's some of the beauty about a goal. Like this year, I planted my garden completely different. I put everything in a straight row instead of 5 feet apart, 5 feet apart. And I decided that I was going to do these 12 tomato plants all in one row, give them 5 feet, 12 more tomato plants. And I got different blends.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that was a goal.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's beautiful. Absolutely. And that's what I really want to encourage moms on today is setting those goals somewhat vague, allowing you to be creative, but also somewhat knowing that this is the end in mind. When I get to August, here's what I want to have achieved. I want my maybe students, children to be reading a chapter a day. I want my children to be exercising core maybe 3 times a week. I want my children to understand, to create. I want them to create something this summer and have an end project for that. So, what are some goals? I'm just encouraging everyone here today. Let's revisit this on Tuesday, but begin to think about your goals for weekly, end of summer. What do I want to have done that will make me stronger and better for the fall, that will prepare my children for the fall, for their next academic year? But what are some fun things, whatever those are? So, mom, churn those things in your mind this week. All right, Stan, what's our last word of advice for goals?
I would say jump back for the homeschool moms. Jump back into the shoes of a little you
Yeah.
and remember what it is that you were excited about,
Yeah.
and duplicate that with your child and say what is possible.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And it should be excitement around your goals, not just check, check, check.
That's right.
Excitement brewing in you that causes creativity to shine forth this summer. So think about it. That's my challenge for you today, is to think about it and get going towards it. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for your time. Happy Tuesday. And we will see you later this week. We'll be with Stan on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. And then we'll look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 8 a.m.
Have a
Take
great
care.
week.